Where is home? Most of us are born with the answer. Others have to sift through the pieces.
I took a walk through this beautiful world, felt the cool rain on my shoulder, found something good in this beautiful world. I felt the rain getting colder.
አዲስ አበባ አየሩ ደመናማ ነው። ነገር ግን በዚህ ሙዚቃ የበለጠ ልናበራው ነው። በማዳመጥ ላላችሁት ፕሮግራም ነው። እየሰማችሁን ስለሆነ ከልብ እናመሰግናለን።
Admit it, you hear the name Ethiopia and you think starving children with distended bellies. You think dust and famine and despair so awful, you frankly don't want to even think about it anymore. But take a look. Addis Ababa, capital city of Ethiopia. A cool, high-altitude urban center that will both confirm and confound expectations. Fueled largely by direct foreign investment and a returning Ethiopian diaspora eager to be part of the new growth, things are changing in Addis. It's one of the fastest growing economies in the world. It's not the first time the place has gone through a growth spurt. In the 1950s, Emperor Haile Selassie, known as the King of Kings, embarked on a similar program of massive public works. This was supposed to be the legacy of Ethiopia, the future. But the next time Ethiopia found itself in the headlines, it was for this. And for many of us, that was the end of the story. So I'm looking forward to this week.
I can't wait to show you Ethiopia.
I've been waiting for you. I mean, I'll tell you right now.
We couldn't have picked a better time because we have old Ethiopia right here, and we also have new Ethiopia right here. And that's like, that combo is going to be so cool.
Marcus Samuelson. Maybe you know him from such shows as A Lot of Them, or his many restaurants, his best-selling memoir, his status as America's most recognizable black chef. But Marcus isn't African-American. He's Swedish-American or Ethiopian-Swedish-American, or look, it's complicated. What is true to say is that Marcus Samuelson, like his wife Maya, was born here in Ethiopia. So, when was the last time you were in Ethiopia?
4 years ago. And you can tell it's changed a lot.
I'm interested in seeing an African country that was never colonized. It was never taken by Europe.
No, that sense of pride, and you really hit the nail on the head. I mean, that sense of pride is also the sense of that everyone wants to come back.
How does it feel coming back? Is it weird at all? You feel like you're coming home?
It is weird, but end of the day, I always love it. I miss it. One foot of me is like just Ethiopian, but then the other foot is just so Swedish or American at this point, right?
You do not speak the language here, Amharic or any of the dialects. No. You've since come back and you've reconnected with family.
Yeah.
But it must be weird. I mean,
it is.
You need a translator.
No, but I need a translator. My wife is not my translator in life and in culture and so many things. But I think when you're a black man, when you're an immigrant, when you're Ethiopian, when you're Sweden, I've been put in so many situations that I put myself into. So I'm actually very comfortable in being uncomfortable.
In the 1970s, Ethiopia was hit with a tuberculosis epidemic. Marcus, his older sister Fante, and his mom were all stricken with the disease. With no possibility of medical attention in their village, facing the almost inevitable death of both her children, Marcus's mom set out on foot with her daughter at her side and 2-year-old Marcus on her back, walking 75 miles to the Swedish hospital in Addis. Against all odds, they made it. Marcus and Fantai recovered. Their mother did not. Marcus and his sister were adopted by Anne-Marie and Leonard Samuelson and raised from that point on in Sweden. Ethiopia, its language, its food, its cultures was largely a mystery. Marcus traveled and trained, apprenticing in some of the great kitchens of Europe. He moved to New York and at the remarkably young age of 23 received 3 stars from the New York Times at his groundbreaking restaurant, Aquavit. It's been a pretty stellar rise since then. And in 2010, he opened Red Rooster in Harlem.
I always find it so paradox that I was born into very little food, but yet sort of I've made my whole life about food. My sort of structure and pragmatism comes from being raised in Sweden. And my sort of vibrancy and warmth to cooking and field-based food that I love comes definitely from here.
Weirdly enough, the single aspect of Ethiopian culture most Westerners do know a little about is Ethiopian food. So maybe you've had this.
Oh, wow. Now that looks good. That is exciting. What is it?
This is typical Ethiopian Mediterranean. They make it really nice.
At Katenga restaurant, they do it classic. Injera bread, that's Ethiopian 101.
I mean, when you think about Ethiopian food, right, the foundation is really the injera bread.
It's not just food, it's an implement.
Yeah.
We're having bianetu, a selection of stews, or wats as they're called around here. That's gomen, sautéed greens, shiro wat, which is a chickpea stew, and tikal gomen, sautéed white cabbage. Many, if not most of the dishes, spiced with the magical, mysterious flavoring of the gods, berbere.
Can I give you one that normally they do? They say gursha.
You have to.
This stuffing of food into your fellow diner's face is called gursha, and it's what you do to show your affection and respect. Try this at the Waffle House sometime and prepare for awkwardness.
Now, when you were born here?
I was born here.
Left what age?
13. I grew up in Holland, and after that we all went to London, Germany, and I'm in New York now. So
I don't want to say it's a rootless existence, but it's a, where's home?
I think for us now, Harlem is really home. But when I've been gone for 2 years, I'm like, I gotta go back because the beat is just so different than what Sweden can offer me and definitely what New York can offer me.
The median age in Ethiopia is under 18. That means most people here don't remember Live Aid or any of that. Coupled with a recent economic boom, this might be the first generation in decades to enjoy a future with real hope. Things are indeed happening. In this case, at a vacant bus stop.
They're Dogtown, man. They're the next generation of Dogtown in Africa, man.
A few years back, a couple of Ethiopians who'd been living abroad returned to Addis with some skateboards. Today, there are a couple hundred skaters in Ethiopia and more on the sidelines waiting for their chance, waiting for a board, waiting for a pair of sneakers.
It's funny though, because skater boy culture came from white Southern California, suburban. You can pretty much track all of skater culture back to one parking lot.
Yeah.
So what's coming out of this parking lot?
There are no skateboard shops in Ethiopia. None. They have to come, all of them, from abroad.
Nice.
Little kid's good.
Little kid is amazing.
For those lucky enough to have them, progression seems to be fast.
This gives me hope, honestly, that this can be a really cool town. Not just a great town with big buildings, you know, but a cool town, too.
For skater boys and television hosts alike, the thing to do in late-night Addis is something called turbo and tibs.
I feel like a college party or something like that. It's perfect.
Turbo is a mutant concoction consisting of gin, beer, wine, and Sprite.
What's the first rule of drinking? Don't mix.
Ebenezer Temeskin, Adizu Halimichael, and Buzeo Julien founded Ethiopia Skate, the grassroots skating community that grew up in the parking lots around Addis. Sean Stromso is a founding member who's been documenting the group.
All right, man. My first turbo. Cheers.
It's like apple juice.
You're right.
Sweet. But
It
the
is
gin
like apple
good.
juice.
Shekla tibs are chunks of beef or lamb fried in oil and served in a charcoal-heated clay pot called a shekla.
Nice. I like the fat rind. I love that. They don't hide the fat.
Every Tibbs house has their own version, but here at Messe Grocery, it's served with a spicy dipping sauce called mitmita, and of course, injera bread.
Yeah, that's good. That works. Oh, that's mustard.
You want
There you go. How did this skating community form? I mean, do people watch what other people are doing around the world?
Definitely.
Some of them they go to the internet cafe and they just see videos. That's how I started.
Back in the days, no internet for me.
Oh, wow.
I had to do it like the hard way, man.
I will tell you right now, if I were Ethiopian, or if I even lived here, I would open a skate shop tomorrow. So, what's the best thing about Ethiopia right now?
I think back in the days, people want to get out from this country, just leave. But now they're like, they just want to work, and their mind has changed. And everybody's working together and working for the better. We're doing this for the next generation, because the next generation is going to take this.
Did we drink all that turbo?
I know.
We're terrible people, man.
Yeah.
Oh, God help. So, time to catch a buzz?
You guys need to be my bodyguard.
No problem. Oh, this place is awesome.
This is a charming Ethiopian institution called a tejbet. They serve one thing and only one thing, tej, an alcoholic beverage made from fermented barley and honey.
It's not highly alcoholic, though, right? You got to pretty much hammer back a lot of this stuff to get a buzz. So basically, the people around here who got a load on, they've been working on this for a long time.
All day. This is a working class. This is where the workers go.
It's a cheap buzz.
It's a cheap bus. Cheers. You just knock it back.
All right.
It's good, man. You feel the funk?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it's working, man.
I've never seen a woman in a bar like this.
It's forbidden.
This is sort of a guy thing.
It's my first time, guys after work or the farmers.
We breaking major rules here.
And you have all like the saints picture there and you drinking.
Yeah, there's a lot of Jesus in the bars.
It's the last thing I want to see in a bar, the disapproving gaze of a saint.
In 1992, Addis emerged from the stifling 17-year grip of a hardline, old-school Maoist regime called the Derg. Since then, the town has been enjoying something of a musical renaissance. But the story of Ethiopian music, all the way back to the beginning, has been about finding ways to skirt authority, to mock it even, to say what you want to say one way or the other. Asmari are Ethiopia's original freestyle rappers. They've been around for centuries, voicing criticism, dissatisfaction, dissent, even when others could not.
So, how old?
How old is Asmari Bey? I would say, what, 2,000 years?
Yeah, it's like the first music that we have, right?
The trick is, they've always used a system of lyrical double meanings referred to as wax, meaning the apparent meaning, and gold, which is the underlying or real meaning. Poking fun at the audience is fundamental to the form.
Maya, you gotta help him out. This is where you go. Maya, go. You gotta see the disadvantages about being adopted soon. When she can move and act like, oh, that's when the speed showed up.
The Asmari influenced Ethiopian popular music too. The use of lyrical double meaning is carried through into Selassie's time. They called it swinging Addis, a golden time between 1955 and 1974, before those fun-hating commies came and ruined everything. Post-World War II, Ethiopia was in the delirious thrall of American big band and swing groups like Glenn Miller, and against the backdrop of a traditional and official obsession with military marching bands, you had the means and the will and the environment to make musical magic. And this man, Mahmoud Ahmed, has always been at the forefront. When you looked to the West, were there American musicians who spoke to you?
የዛን ጊዜ እኔ የኤልቪስ ፕሬስሊን እንትን የተከተልኩት ኢሳን ኩክ ነበረ፣ ጄምስ ብራውን እና ደግሞ ናት ኪንግ ኮል አለ። የዛን ጊዜ እኔ የኤልቪስ ፕሬስሊን እንትን የተከተልኩት ጄል ሃውስ ሮክ የሚለውን ዘፈኑን ሲጫወት የዛን ጊዜ ነው የእግሩን ሼክ እንትን ያደርግ ነበር እና ያንን ነው እኔ የወሰድኩት ከሱ እና እኔ ፈጣን ሙዚቃ ሲጫወት የኔ እግር እንደዛ እንደ ኤልቪስ ሼክ አለ እንትን
Combining elements of jazz, swing, R&B, and distinctive Ethiopian scales and time signatures, and an always killer horn section, well, listen for yourself.
Hulet, 2, 3, 4.
Shola Market in Addis Ababa. It's where you come for what you need.
What are we here to buy, by the way? What's the plan?
I want to make dorawat. Really, the king of chicken dishes in Ethiopia. All right, so we're going to go head down here, get some good butter. You smell the fermentation, the funk?
Funk.
Kibe, an Ethiopian butter in various stages of fermentation depending on what you like. It is a primary ingredient in much of the cooking.
So there's between one is really fermented and another one is a medium. So she says we should use the medium one for chicken stew. And you use all the spices. But this is the most important thing. ነጭ ቅመም፣ ነጭ አዝሙድ እና ጥቁር ቅመም።
People from Guragi, Maya's tribal area, run the market, so she knows the language and how to negotiate.
ይከብዳል? አይከብድም?
I can smell a frightened chicken a mile off. Here we go. Guess how many do we need?
I just think we need 3, it's fine.
My mama done told me, get something for dinner. In this case, chicken. Fresh, please.
See ya, wouldn't want to be ya.
Oh, that's fresh.
I love all the sounds. Like it's like chicken there, music there.
How did he get the skin off?
He just, one move, he did it.
We used to use like a hot boiled water.
Yeah.
After killing it,
Dip them in.
there. That's how I grew up.
Morocco has ras al hanout, India garam masala. Ethiopia has this, the brightly colored berbere. The color is amazing, and those guys who grind this stuff are covered with it. Breathe it all day long.
Still warm. Wow. That's sort of magic, man.
Marcus left Ethiopia at age 2, so finding and reconnecting with his family has not been easy. Tracking down a mom who died in similar circumstances on the right dates, following a thread to a dusty village in the Oromo region, where Marcus found the man he has come to accept as his biological father. He also found Tigist, Salem, Zebani, Ashu, and Daniel, presumably his siblings by another mother. Together, Marcus and his sisters make dorawat, a classic chicken stew.
You talk about all feel, and I need it to go back to New York and be the chef that I have to be. I really need this. Welcome to Segai family meal. Segai family meal. So we start with the injera bread, right?
Yeah.
Besides the dorawat, we have cabbage, beets, and collards, root vegetables finished with the livers and giblets of the chicken.
Actually, it looks spicier than it is.
Good. Very good.
Though a continuing bone of contention with his father, Marcus and Maya have sponsored the girls, moving them all to the city and getting them into school. In the countryside, these girls faced the likelihood of forced marriage, even abduction, and very little chance of the kind of future they might have now.
So how'd that go over with the family when you said, going to try to help here?
I mean, my dad was like, absolutely not. We need them on the farm.
Right.
It couldn't have been done without Maya, that really not only translates, but also understands the culture. Because I felt also bad coming in as the quote-unquote American saying, okay, everyone should move to the city. It had to be gradually 2 by 2 by 2.
Right.
So when I had to pick which 2, I picked the girls because otherwise I should have been out of school by 2nd grade if she would have followed the tradition of the country.
2nd grade. That's it. What after that?
You work at home. It's been very enriching and loving, you know, for us. And we have a purpose. You know, we know what our goal is. Our goal is to get them through school. You're looking at a chemist in a couple of months. Whatever new Ethiopia you see, they're it. Farmers coming in and going to school and now have options.
Addis is one thing, a city experiencing a renaissance of sorts, an economic boom. Outside of the city, the farther away one gets, one is reminded that in fact Ethiopia remains one of the poorest countries in the world. Marcus and Maya come from 2 completely different tribes, 2 completely different regions of Ethiopia with distinct languages and cultures all their own. Maya comes from the Guragi region, a more fertile, green agricultural area than Marcus's. It's about 3 hours out from the city, and it's beautiful. Maya, it should be noted, left home at a much later age. There's no question of identity. She's African, she's Guragi, and she retains close ties to her family and to her village.
Welcome to Guragi.
Thank you.
She was here just last year. It's been 4 years since they've seen Marcus. Maya's mother, Bazunesh, and de facto grandmother, Owl, welcome us.
So it's like, go ahead.
When visitors come, everything starts with coffee.
Good.
Traditionally, it's served here with a bit of salt, not sugar.
Thank you.
That's good. Maya's story differs from Marcus's in a lot of ways. It was not disease or famine or poverty that drove her and her brother Petros to Europe and a new life. It was the brutal reality of politics.
So, who was your father?
My dad was my hero and everyone's hero. I mean, everyone, but my brother could explain a little bit more.
He was a local chief and also a member of the Supreme or the highest court, you can say. During the Haile Selassie period, he was engaged in more innovative and experimental mechanized farm during the communist period. You know, something unexpected happened.
In 1974, Emperor Haile Selassie was deposed, and the very unpleasant General Mengistu and a hardline communist regime called the Derg took over the country. As in Mao's China, all agricultural property was taken over by the state and broken up into small parcels.
Everything what my father had, the land, the property, is confiscated. And those who had authority, they had the chance to work together to cooperate, or they were enemies.
Right. Anyone deemed an enemy of the state, and this could be a very dangerously loose definition, but usually and typically included the educated, the well-off, and anyone associated with the former government, were hunted down, shunned, jailed, harassed, and often straight out killed. Maya's dad was all those things, an educated landowner, and part of the rural tribal administration from the Selassie time. Most people who had the means left the country.
I know this guy who is appointed, as governor of the region, killed 60 people in the region here in 3 years' time.
Nobody knows when he's coming.
Right.
So he just knock our door, and my mom, she gets every time he comes, he give her bullets.
So
he tells her, this bullet next time is yours if you don't bring your husband. So my dad always came to visit us in nighttime, so he never been really home around during the daytime.
So for most of that time, your father had to live in hiding.
Yeah.
And we all survived by the grace of God. We are blessed for this.
Morning in Maya's village. Marcus is a runner. Every day, wherever he is, he runs a few miles. Me, not so much. But what with my cardio shockingly improved of late, I figured I'd give it a try. Maya and Marcus's return, not to mention the invasion of a big foreign television crew, is reason or maybe excuse for a big party, and preparations have already begun. Maya slips seamlessly from her other life as a high-fashion model back into her more traditional role in village life, working along with an army of other women to prepare what looks like a massive feast.
How do the ladies feel about you cooking, man?
This is, you see,
It's causing serious problems.
No, you already crossed it because you're the first foreigner ever in that kitchen.
A lamb, of course, must be slaughtered. Actually, in this case, 2 lambs, because here, as in much of Ethiopia, Muslims and Christians live side by side. One lamb gets the halal treatment, one for the Christians. It's a peculiar history of peaceful coexistence here, of which Ethiopians are quite proud. The Christians came here during the time of the apostles, from the very beginnings of Christianity as a religion.
And
the belief is that Muhammad, after being persecuted and driven from Mecca by the Quraysh, fled to Ethiopia, where he found refuge.
Dog is happy.
Oh, yeah.
Nice and bloody in his face.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome.
The production continues. Women in the kitchen, except for Marcus, who looks most comfortable there, though his presence is a befuddlement to the others. Men taking care of the meat. Oh, bro food traditions, you're everywhere.
You know, none of the people that cook today, right, consider themselves cooks. But all of them like.
Well, like in rural communities, when you kill a couple of animals, right? Everybody in the village has sort of a chosen specialty. Like Joe Bob over there, he does the crackling. Somebody else over there does the boudin. Somebody else over there is like good at the scraping the fur off. Somebody else, but everybody's got a function. You know, it goes right back to the first fire. I mean, I'll bring the dip. You know.
Normally you hold it like this, and then you put everything you want in here.
Got it.
So you guys could take some, and then we're gonna take it around.
Perfect.
Goman and Ayib are greens, like collards, with a big hit of berbere and Ayib cheese.
I like the cheese. It's like a ricotta.
Lamb kitfu, prepared Guragi style, laboriously diced, amazing.
This is all like inner.
Yeah, I got some of that. That's good. That's delicious.
Yeah.
This I love without reservation.
Barbecue. Now we're talking. Man, what a meal. Pretty impressive.
Then whiskey and music, and the party really starts going.
Thank you for coming to Ethiopia.
In 2004, at the prompting of his sister, Marcus began an exhaustive search for his lost family. Who was he, after all? Where exactly did he come from? Who in his family had survived, was left? Where were they? He was told that his father was still alive, living here in the village of Abrugundana, southeast of Addis. For adoptees looking to return, to reconnect, the journey is complicated. For Marcus, each trip has always raised more questions than it's answered. This trip is no different.
Every time, that last 5-minute drive, right? It just makes me nervous, makes me really, really excited and nervous at the same time, right? But it's just, take the American hat off and take the Swedish hat off. It's just a different grid.
This ain't 110th Street.
It is not. I come from a dusty place.
You're not kidding.
Oh, they changed it.
They changed it. They made it big.
Yes.
I leave Marcus alone with his father. This is between them.
Maruko?
Yes.
Abragodana.
Abragodana, I like it. I like Abragodana.
He wanted to see your foot. He wanted to see how you guys look alike.
I wasn't ready for this.
They look alike.
Yeah. Proof.
Good idea, actually. But he has a better foot than you do.
He does. And I wasn't ready for this.
So, how does it feel to be back? You seem, I gotta tell you, I'm gonna be honest, seem conflicted.
Yeah. there's 1,000 thoughts going through my head. I always feel a little guilty that I got out.
If you'd stayed, what do you think you'd be doing right now?
I would have been a farmer or dealt with some type of cattle.
I'm pretty sure you would have been a shit farmer, Marcus.
I would
have. I can't see it, okay? You'd be the best dressed goddamn farmer, that's for sure. Where's home for you, man? Where do you think, I know, looking back on it all?
Yeah, that's an internal question for me, you know. I feel at home in New York. I feel very much at home when I'm in Africa, but I also feel out of place. And coming to this very place, Abrogorana, it gives me a lot of humility, but I can't say it's home. I can't say it's home.
Happiest moment in Africa?
Happiest moment is, I think, when we at Maya's village for me. The whole village comes together. Music, food, culture brings everybody together. That eating together, being together, it's by far the happiest for me.
What does it mean to be strong? It implies hardness, inflexibility. Okinawa is a place with a fighting tradition, a history of ferocious resistance. But it's nothing like what you might think. Not at all.
I took a walk through this beautiful world. Felt the cool rain on my shoulder. Found something good in this beautiful world. I felt the rain getting colder. Sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la.
This is Okinawa, just south of mainland Japan. For all the relative rigidity of the mainland, Okinawa answers in its own unique way. Don't eat the same thing each day. That's boring. There's even an Okinawan term for it, chanpuru, something mixed. Bits borrowed from all over, served up for anyone to eat. But maybe you're more familiar with the name Okinawa from this, as the setting for some of the most horrifyingly bloody battles of the Second World War. How horrifying? For the Allies, there were more than 50,000 casualties, with around 12,000 killed or missing in action over nearly 3 months of fighting. More than 100,000 Japanese soldiers and Okinawan conscripts were killed defending the island. Civilians were stuck in the middle of the two armies and got crushed. No one will know for sure, but historians estimate 150,000 men, women, and children lost their lives during the battle. What most don't know is that Okinawa had only become Japan fairly recently. That to a great extent, Okinawans didn't even consider themselves really Japanese, or vice versa. That Okinawans and Japanese considered themselves to be different ethnicities, spoke two different languages, and culturally, culinarily, and in many other ways, looked in different directions. Yet, Okinawans were asked to make the ultimate sacrifice, and they did. That's not just ancient history. It informs the present still. Okinawa is the largest of over 100 islands making up the Ryukyu Island chain. It's just over 300 miles from the mainland, but worlds apart. Okinawa is different. It's tropical. Clear waters, some of the best beaches in Asia, with a decidedly more laid-back, less frenetic, self-serious attitude than the mainland. You can feel it. You can see it. It's just different here. 2,000 pounds of heavily muscled beef enters the arena. You could feel the ground shake under its heavy hooves. His opponent awaits. Togyo, also known as Ushizumo. Sumo, yes, but bull sumo. These are professionals. And like Jake LaMotta and Chuck Wepner before them, they shall live to fight or do other stuff another day, having shed decidedly less blood than either of those two gentlemen. Two animals, two handlers. And they do like the Burgess Meredith job in Rocky. And like fighters or sumo, the bulls are ranked by their ability, their record in the ring, the highest being Yokozuna. This is Kenny Amon. He lives up the road.
Is there a time limit, or they just go till somebody gives up?
I think they pretty much go until somebody gives up, but when it gets around
There's no point system.
No, there's no point system. Basically, when the other one turns around and runs away, as the winner. A few times, one bull will actually get around to the side and actually be able to flip the bull over.
Right. The winner and loser survives. Both.
Once in a while, you'll have injuries, but most of the time, the bulls go home and...
They go home to be happy.
They do.
Nobody's turned in a steak or cutlets.
No.
Togyu started as early as the 17th century with farmers pitting bull against bull. They love it in agricultural communities like this, so much so that it was briefly banned in some places because farmers were spending too much time at the fights and not enough time growing sugarcane. Like Customato and the young Tyson, their handlers raised these beasts from calves, caring for them on one hand and training them, conditioning them to be monsters in the ring on the other.
Yeah. Does one wager on this?
I guess the official answer would be that gambling's illegal in Japan, but...
Intermission. Time for a corn dog, some funnel cake, curly fries? No, better, much better. Yakitori, yes, they have that. But when in Okinawa, do as the Okinawans do, yakisoba. Start with pork belly, as one always should, some hacked up sausage, cabbage, carrots, fry that stuff up on the griddle, add some chukamen noodles and sauce, soy, mirin, brown sugar, vinegar, and a bit of sake. Top with seaweed powder, some pickled ginger garnish, and eat. Now.
Oh, he looks impressive. Oh, yeah.
Oh, he's ready to go. This guy, I think, is going to win this one.
Well, we haven't seen his opponent. Oh, yeah. My money's on him. El Agreso. Pretty decisive winner there. I'm not accusing anybody of gambling, but I see some money changing hands. He can do it, I can do it, God damn it.
If you're looking for sushi or kaseki or ramen, you will of course find them in Okinawa. But what you need to know, what you must know, is that in Okinawa, pork is king. Okay, they got tofu too. Here at Urizun, they do specifically Okinawan food the Okinawan way.
Hi, arigato. This is the tofuyo, which you just eat a little at a time.
Is that strong?
It is a little strong, yeah. It has like a cheese type of texture.
That's good.
Not bad, right?
It is like blue cheese. Ah, pork belly?
Yes.
Okinawans love pork. Every part of the magical animal, the pig. At Orizun, the pork belly is slowly cooked in stock heavily infused with burrito flakes and awabori. The ears are simmered until tender, thinly sliced and dressed in rice wine vinaigrette. And the ribs, after brining in sake and seasonings, are slowly roasted.
So you grew up in New Jersey. How did you find your way to Okinawa?
Well, my mom was from here. My dad was in the Navy. He was stationed here, met my mom, and wound up back in New Jersey because that's where my dad was from, Patterson. And I was born and raised there. The school I went to, it was predominantly Caucasian kids. There wasn't many Asian Americans at all.
Right.
And I always had this kind of like identity complex. There would be like times where people would come to the house. They'd say, "Oh, where's your mom from? Is she from China?"
Oh, God, yeah, right.
Yeah, open the refrigerator and there'd be some weird food, you know, "Hey, what's that? What do you..." And every time I heard that, I was like, wow, am I different? And then all of a sudden, one day my mom says, "We're going back to Okinawa on a family trip." I was 17 years old.
You've never been up to that point?
No. But when I got off the plane, I don't know what it was. It was like, I'm here. This is my home. Being able to connect my heritage, I felt something. I was like, wow, I belong here.
How about the food? What was in that refrigerator? Because I know a lot of kids who grew up with that same sort of uncertainty when they brought their friends home from school to their house and opened their refrigerator. You know, if kimchi or cabbage or fish sauce, they were aware of it when they visited their friends, and they were acutely uncomfortable with it when their friends came over. Man, have things changed as far as attitudes. Pretty much the engine of the new American cuisine are kids with childhoods like yours. And I don't mean just what's hip, what's the next big thing. I mean, literally redefining what is American cuisine. Let's put it this way. The central irony of this story is that, you know, your mom would have been like a hipster hero of New Jersey now.
Still another American invasion in the Pacific. The objective is Okinawa, one of the ring of island fortresses protecting Japan, 300 miles away.
On April 1st, 1945, a U.S. invasion fleet of nearly 1,500 ships, a landing force of 182,000 people, that's 75,000 more than Normandy, approached Okinawa. What came next was what Okinawans called a typhoon of steel. Having island-hopped across the Pacific, Allied forces saw Okinawa as a key base for fleet anchorage, troop staging, and air operations for the final push into the Japanese mainland and victory. The fighting was brutal for both sides. The cost in lives and resources for the Allied forces was tremendous. And when it was over, military planners looked at the mainland, looked at what Okinawa had cost them, and projected even more appalling losses. What came next, we all know. What is not widely known is that more people died during the Battle of Okinawa than all those killed during the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
From the very beginning, mainland Japanese defense preparation was only 60% when U.S. military landed on Okinawa.
Right.
So that they had to keep the U.S. military forces as long as possible in Okinawa so that they could prepare defense to protect mainland Japan, you know. So ever since that Battle of Okinawa, Okinawan people say we were sort of, what do you call it?
Sacrifice?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Masahide Ota is a former governor of Okinawa. In 1945, he was a young conscript in the Japanese Imperial Army. He fought hard and bravely against the Allies until he saw Japanese soldiers murdering Okinawans for food and water, and his faith melted away. Getoan is a private home turned restaurant, serving very traditional Okinawan dishes. In honor of their outspoken former governor, the restaurant has prepared a dish typically served to royals and VIPs in what was once the Ryukyu Kingdom. It's called tundabun, after the lacquered dish the multi-bite-sized portions are presented in.
That's it.
Oh, it's very good. There's some squid. Swordfish wrapped in seaweed and simmered in stock and fermented sake. Dried sea snake wrapped in kombu and slow simmered. Burdock root wrapped in pork loin and slow cooked in katsuo stock. Okinawan taro flash fried, then dressed with sugar and soy. And pork shoulder, dredged in black sesame, then steamed.
You have described that you were shocked and surprised to see the Japanese soldiers, their treatment of Okinawans was not good during the battle.
After the United States forces landed Okinawa, General Headquarters of the Okinawan Defense Forces issued the order, regardless of military people or the civilians, you cannot use other than standard language. And if you use the Okinawan language, you will be killed as a spy, you know.
Right.
But the Okinawan people could not understand standard language, you know. So when Japanese soldiers killed lots of local people, you know.
Particularly given the experience of the war, how Japanese do you think most people feel here?
There's a fundamental difference between Japanese culture and Okinawan culture. Japanese culture is warrior culture, but Okinawan culture is absence of militarism. Okinawan people are happy-go-lucky people.
Do you think that easygoing, that reputation, that tradition of being happy-go-lucky, do you think that this has led to Okinawans being taken advantage of? I mean, for instance, the U.S. military bases. Okinawa is 1% of the landmass of Japan, and yet what percentage of the military bases are here on Okinawa? Almost all of them. Okinawa seems to be asked to make a lot of sacrifices for the mainland. Will that ever stop?
You are talking about NIMBY.
Not in my backyard.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
For a place with as bloody a history, Okinawa is today noticeably more laid back than the mainland. But that does not mean everybody's forgotten their warrior traditions. When the feudal Satsuma Empire from the mainland invaded Okinawa in 1609, they banned the carrying, manufacture, or use of weapons of any kind. The ban was later reinforced in 1879 when Japan formally annexed the island. It is believed that these prohibitions led directly to the development of a new style of martial art, indisputably born in Okinawa, karate, or empty hands technique. And its even more vicious cousin, kabuto, a form that uses farm and fishing tools to lethal effect. Hard and soft, balance. For everything soft, there must be something hard. Goju-ryu is one of the main traditional styles of karate, featuring a combination of hard and soft techniques. Go means hard, linear attacks, closed hand strikes, and kicks. Ju means soft, open hand, circular blocking, sweeping, and takedown movements. Sensei Tetsuhiro Hokama is a legendary master of Goju-ryu. People come from all over the world to study at his dojo, and the training they get is hardcore. I've been invited to watch Hokama Sensei's students warm up. Let me repeat. This is only the warm-up.
That does not look like fun.
The exercises are designed to repeatedly punish your hands and feet, building up stronger, larger, more protective deposits around the bones, basically weaponizing even your weakest and smallest extremities. And it hurts even to watch.
It's bad. It's bad.
James Pankovich, Brit and black belt in Shorin-ryu karate, moved to Okinawa in 2009 to study Budo, or the way of martial arts. He acts as translator for most of the karate sensei on the island. Earlier, I'd met James and Hokama Sensei at Makishi Public Market in Okinawa's largest city, Naha.
That's the tasty one. Right, we'll take that one.
And what are these?
Addis, so these are puffer fish. Hi, karage. Then we'll sashimi. Onegaishimasu. So we got some, we're gonna do some deep fried fish for us.
Gurakun, the unofficial national fish of Okinawa, and porcupine fish, both battered and deep fried.
They're gonna do sashimi.
Okinawans eat just about any kind of fish, sashimi style. For us, snapper and parrotfish.
And lobster.
Because one must. Served raw and still twitching in the shell.
And we're gonna get some sea grapes as well.
Oh, good, good. That's super traditional.
Sea grapes, the classic regional side dish, dressed in rice vinegar. What you buy downstairs from vendors, for a small fee, restaurants will cook it for you upstairs.
Wow.
Oh my God. Happy.
Wow. Sugoi.
So Okinawa's most famous export, perhaps, is karate. When most of us think of karate, we think of striking exclusively. Is that an accurate representation of what you're doing?
The basis of Okinawan karate is that it was used primarily as a defensive art. In other words, being able to, control and subdue the opponent. Usually, if you could, in a humane way, but then if you had to finish them, then you had the ability to finish them. The striking is important, but a lot of the technique is not about striking, it's about submission techniques. Yeah? Some of that is to do with kyusho, so attacking nerve points. And Hokama Sensei in particular is extremely skilled at dealing with, bigger, stronger opponents.
Human engineering, very important. Point, 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 point. Then this point attack to fingers. No knuckle, open.
The demonstration of Hokama Sensei's open hand kyushu technique becomes a little too real for my taste.
Awful.
Human engineering. With a terrifying logic, one attacks the weak point. All I know how to do in this situation, by the way, is pull guard and look for something to choke or lock. Nope. Apparently, they don't know what tapping out means here because I was tapping like Western goddamn Union. I thought he was gonna push that 71-year-old finger right into my brain pan.
There was a saying in the old days that if there was a fight happening somewhere in town, people would go and have a look, and they'd say, are they fighting with fists or open hands? And if they were fighting with fists, they'd say, oh, don't bother, it's an amateur fight. If they were fighting with open hands, then they knew they were masters.
On the eastern coast of Okinawa, Yanks enter the village of Kin.
The U.S. military came ashore in 1945, and to Okinawans, it must seem like they never left. Today, there are roughly 30,000 troops stationed on the island. Put that many Americans in a place, especially young, mostly male Americans, many of them homesick, and it tends to change the environment. Kin Town, just outside of Naha, right by Camp Hansen, one of the larger bases.
The Yanks have fought inch by inch to conquer this island.
Kin is a small slice of Americana, both the mainstream America and its dark underbelly. The Okinawans have made the kind of adjustments that people do when saddled with neighbors like thousands of Marines, and sometime in the 80s, adjusted food as we knew it to this, a mutant classic, taco rice.
Taco and rice. That's taco rice.
Wow.
Wow, it's big.
Is this chili sauce or was it ketchup?
It's the original taco.
Oh, it's taco sauce.
Taco rice sauce, but it's a bit spicy.
Oh, good.
But not super spicy.
Vivian Takushi has lived in both the U.S. and Okinawa, and her aunt, Sumiko, an entertainer who began singing in American bases after the war.
Wow, that's good.
There are dueling claims as to how taco rice might have morphed into existence, but Saori Shimabukuro is certain. In the 1980s, American servicemen introduced the standard taco to Okinawans, and her grandfather, Matsugiyo Gibo, decided to tweak them, dumping the fillings straight onto rice for the late-night crowd of Marines coming back from the bars. This unholy, greasy, starchy, probably really unhealthy delight, a booze mop turned classic, caught on big time for both Americans missing home and locals.
So I consider myself a pretty pro-military guy, but why are the Marines here? Look, I like Marines, but, you know, I'm not Robert McNamara, but it seems to me if you go to war with China, sending in the Marines is probably not what you're going to be doing. People of your generation, what do you think the attitude is towards the military bases?
As long as we're not living near the base,
Right.
it doesn't affect us that much.
Near the base.
Near the base.
It
If
makes
you-
a difference.
Right.
I
If
mean,
you
look,
live near it,
you know right away. I mean, it's tattoo parlors, strip clubs, vape shops. I mean, you know.
and also it's very loud. That's a big issue. Oto.
Tourism is probably the future of Okinawa, yes? I mean, beautiful weather,
Kankochi.
beaches, if the bases leave. It's going to be big hotels and resorts and golf courses. Which is worse, Chinese tourists or American Marines?
I'll stick with the Marines.
Semper Fi.
Not everybody here agrees with Vivian, by a long shot. Okinawans may be easygoing and laid back, but the island is also a relative hotbed of political activism, largely inspired or provoked by what Okinawans see as high-handed treatment from a central government with different cultural and historical traditions, who don't consider their needs or priorities, and their hugely disproportionate shouldering of the U.S. military presence for the entire country. Currently, there are close to 30 military installations on Okinawa. And even though it's one of the smallest Japanese prefectures in terms of livable area, they accommodate more than half of the foreign military presence. Even more problematic, much of Okinawa's arable land suitable for farming on an island whose whole traditional identity was built around farming is eaten up by military bases.
The military base issue, is this more important for older people or younger people?
Well, it's for the older people.
It's for the older people?
Yes. So when you actually go to a place where they have like a protest going on, I would say over 80% of the people are all retired person.
Why do you think that is?
And then this is only my opinion, but Japanese Imperial Army did a lot of brutal stuff on this island, and war never ended for some people. And the feelings that they got suppressed, all of a sudden, after they retire, they kind of burst, and they want to kind of
act out.
Act out.
This is Keiji Yoda. He's an Okinawan farmer. And this is Nishimachi, a small noodle shop that bears only the owner's name and serves only Okinawan-style soba. Pork belly or ribs is the meat, the broth a mix of fish, chicken, pork, and vegetable stocks. Okinawan soba differs greatly from what we know from the mainland. They use wheat noodles instead of buckwheat, a nod perhaps to the spaghetti-eating Marines they lived with all these years. Garnishes are spring onion, fish cake, and slices of omelet. Add your pickled ginger and togarashi hot sauce, and hoorah!
It seems the anti-base sentiment also coincide with an anti-central government sentiment. You do bear a hugely disproportionate burden of bases. Isn't some activism called for here?
I think the young generation should decide what to do for our future instead of the old people just fighting for their beliefs. To me, I really feel a strong need to forgive and then forget and then move on.
Long before the war and the Americans arrived, long before the Satsuma invaded from the mainland, Okinawa was a kingdom, the Ryukyu Kingdom. A prosperous and peaceful island chain with no standing army. They were farmers, traders, and necessarily diplomats, whose eyes more often than not looked west to China rather than to the more isolated mainland. While Japan, as it existed then, was isolationist, racially and ethnically, culturally, and in every other way, the Ryukyu Kingdom was not. They were more open, more multicultural, more used to and predisposed to dealing with the outside world and its influences. Today, just a short ferry ride from the main island, a sense, a feeling of that long-gone empire remains. Kumejima is a small island that has been largely untouched by the changes in the world. People farm and fish as they always did.
The war never came here.
This is Bunshiro Nagame and Yohina Tomohiro, Kumejima residents and friends of James.
So you know, they suffered very little damage in the war.
And no military bases. No American presence.
基地がないでしょうね。
いや、ありました。
あります。今
72年まで。
Well, up until 72, there was an American base.
There was.
日本復帰した時に、
But then in 72, on the reversion, the base was taken away.
Now nothing.
今はないでしょ。
今はない。今は自衛隊の。
Only the Japanese self-defense forces now.
What do people do here? Agriculture?
Growing sugarcane.
I saw.
Tourism.
Fishing.
Fishing. Have there been attempts to develop here, and have the locals been able to resist that impulse?
普通にあんまり欲張ってないんですよ、皆さん。
She's saying on the Kumejima they have rich lives. They have everything they need. They have produce from the land, from the sea. They don't need much else.
I've been invited to a beach barbecue, Kumejima style. Go big or go home. To eat some fresh-caught tuna that comes straight from the market to be butchered into sashimi. Also caught this morning some sea snails for the grill, and mazuku, seaweed, which can be cooked, but today is enjoyed raw. And local prawns eaten either raw or grilled or both.
Now that looks awesome. Off of the head?
There's more. Local beef grilled and then tossed with moyashi, seasoned bean sprouts. We will need our energy, it appears. Tegumi is as old school a martial art as it gets. No ring, no octagon, the rules are simple. Known as Okinawan sumo, whoa, it looks easy. It's not. Your hands are wrapped in your opponent's belt. Object is to get him onto his back, both shoulders, before he does it to you.
Nice.
You land on your back for even a second, you lose.
There you got him, yeah. Awesome. Would you like to try? Try it.
Yeah, sure.
Chibario.
Yes!
Go on, Tony. Chibario.
Yes! In the end, it's a less than smoothly executed judo move, kosorogake, I believe, that brings my opponent to the ground.
Thank you for going easy on me. Awesome.
So I've given up many vices in my life, many shameful, filthy, guilty pleasures that I used to like that I just don't do anymore. Cocaine, heroin, prostitutes, the musical stylings of Steven Tyler. I put aside these childish things, as it were, in favor of a newer, more mature me. But there is one shameful secret. One thing I just can't give up. One thing I keep coming back to every time I come back to Japan. One thing that still has an unholy grip on me for no reason that I can gather. It's the convenience store, formerly of near Akron, Ohio, that mutated into a massive Japanese chain. Behold, the wonder that is Lawson. What is it exactly about this place that's got its tentacles so deep into my heart and my soul? Konnichiwa. Where are you? I know you're around here somewhere. Pillows of love. Egg salad from Lawson. Need a beverage. Pillows of love.
In Naha, you would be advised to avoid International Avenue, unless you're homesick for fellow Americans. Head down the side streets. Shuttered storefronts give way to packed izakayas. A few beers, and somebody breaks out a shamisen, and the good times begin. People go out here, and after pounding your fists and feet into hardened meat hooks and shitting out bone chips, you could drop by Dojo Bar, James's refuge, where some of the island's most esteemed masters and their students come for what is recognized internationally as the cure for all martial arts-related ailments, alcohol.
Would you like a drink?
I think I would like a beer and maybe a shot of something.
Well, I do have a little shot of something.
It's a big snake.
So the habashu, sake is like the spirit of Okinawa.
Now, is this sake or whiskey?
This is sake. This is Okinawan sake called awamori. So like mainland Japanese sake, but then they distill it like whiskey. So it becomes stronger, but also now it'll age. And it's been in here with the snake maybe like 3 years, because all of the essence of the snake has gone out into the alcohol. Saisho no habashu de. Goodbye!
There seems to be a conflict of interest here. You train karate very seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, should you people be drinking? This is what I'm asking. Where is the point of diminishing returns?
There aren't many teachers who don't drink. The awamori is intrinsic to the Okinawan culture.
Right.
Most enjoy awamori as part of their lifestyle, in the same way that karate is part of their lifestyle. They're saying, please eat. Less talking, more eating.
Well done.
Sashimi of, well, let's just say it's an animal you like.
This is horse meat.
Horse, all right. Thank you. Good. And this? Oh. Goat. Ooh, that's good.
Pure protein for people who need it. And pork belly, some pickled pig's ears, and baked yam.
I watch a lot of mixed martial arts. I watch a lot of jiu-jitsu. My daughter trains mostly jiu-jitsu, but some stand-up. Some of the most exciting fighters that I've seen lately who really show the most heart are women. Is there a future for women in karate?
Okinawa de wa ne, Okinawa no Buddhist naka de wa, jousei wa dou desu ka?
Yeah.
So here's a female student here tonight. This is Yaya. Tony is asking, what's the future for women in traditional karate?
When I first started karate, I didn't know this word. And now I'm learning karate as the performance and also life. Everything is all about love. And karate is showing you if you have this kind of power and the ability to protect yourself, your family, you can be really kind. That's about Okinawa, I think. Okinawa people, I think, always have this love to everyone.
Good evening, my fellow citizens. This government, as promised, has maintained the closest surveillance of the Soviet military buildup on the island of Cuba.
This is the Cuba I grew up with.
Mankind teeters precariously on the brink of a thermonuclear war.
The missile crisis. Duck and cover. Hide under your desk, kids. Cover yourselves with wet newspaper, because we're all gonna die.
The flames of crisis burn far stronger, fed and fanned by the bitter tirades of Fidel Castro.
And this guy, always in the fatigues, underlining with every appearance that we were two nations in a never-ending state of war.
Today, the
United States of America is changing its relationship with the people of Cuba. We will begin to normalize relations between our two countries.
I took a walk through this beautiful world. Felt the cool rain on my shoulder. Found something good in this beautiful world. I felt the rain getting colder. Sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la.
Cuba's been sitting here for, what, 55 years now? Half an hour away. Basically giving the biggest superpower in the world the stiff middle finger.
50-plus years of animosity, embargo, rationing, and Fidel Castro is still hanging on. But recently, there are powerful indications that everything is about to change.
We are at Jaimanita, a little fishing town. This place is called Casa Santi, owned by two brothers that go out and fish every morning and bring fresh seafood.
Okay, humble fishing village, traditional fishing family.
Yes.
We're about to eat sushi. What's going on in this country, man?
Things are changing, Anthony. What can I say? My name is Hugo Cancio. I was born in Cuba. I was in one of Cuba's most prominent schools. When I made a joke about President Fidel Castro, I was a teenager, and the kid that slept on the bunk bed on top of me recorded our conversation, and I was expelled from school. My mom said the only choice is for us to leave Cuba. I'm a businessman. I've lived in Miami for 35 years as my home base. I come back and forth to Cuba. I've been coming to Cuba for over 20 years. I mean, Cuba is a communist country in economic transition. You know, since Raul Castro allowed Cubans to establish more businesses, there are people that are making money. There are people that have created a tremendous amount of wealth.
People with family connections to the States, people tied to the exploding tourist industry, small business owners, taxi drivers, people operating in ever-changing gray areas of what is permissible.
How's it work right now? If you're Cuban, you can sell your property
to another Cuban.
From
Cuba. And that's what's happening right now. A lot of Cuban Americans and a lot of Cubans living abroad are now coming back and through relatives are buying property. Obviously, somebody has touched this building with some kind of investment. It's renovated. It seems to be like a hotel. Somebody bought the building and turned it into a little hotel.
However you feel about the government, however you feel about the last 55 years, there aren't many places in the world that look like this. I mean, it's utterly enchanting.
It's very seductive.
There is no doubt in my mind that somewhere in the offices of like the Four Seasons hotel chain, they're looking at the seafront and thinking, you know, one of these days, you know, and cruise ships, you know, what happens then?
Well, look,
is this inevitable march of progress? Am I being a snob?
No, you're being very realistic, and that's the concern of most Cubans. I wouldn't mind seeing one or two Starbucks around Havana, but I'm hoping that we don't go back to 1958, with the majority of Cuban companies were owned by American corporations. Right. I have got to believe that Cuba want to preserve some of the value that represents, you know, the hearts and soul of the Cuban people.
Last time I was in Havana, a meal at a paladar would have been rice and beans. Now, sushi, a certain sign of impending apocalypse.
That's good. Yeah. 10 years ago, this restaurant would have never been allowed, not only because private businesses were not allowed, but the external influence that you're seeing. Remember, this is a country where chewing gum or listening to the Beatles were prohibited. I don't think we all need to have Twitter every day. I mean, one of the things I love about coming to Cuba is the fact that I could put my iPhone away. Who cares? Look what we have around us. And I hope that Cubans, as they continue to have access to free information, they will still want to preserve these family times.
Tourists have been coming to Cuba for some time. Predominantly Europeans, many of them men of a certain age looking for, how shall we say, company. But now it looks like Americans looking to live out fantasies of Godfather 2 will soon be able to do so. And it's all still here for them. But there's new stuff, too. This is certainly new. Fábrica de Arte, the hottest spot in Havana. A nightclub, performance space, art gallery, highlighting artists, musicians, and DJs from around the world. Questlove is scheduled to DJ here tomorrow night.
It's like a big bag when all the art can fit inside.
What is going on here? I ask Inti Herrera and Ex Alfonso, two of the young entrepreneurs behind the place.
Nothing like this ever existed before. Did the Government Bureau of Arts help you?
We had, at the beginning, we had subsidies from the Ministry of Culture. Even the building, we asked for the building because it was abandoned for 30 years.
The place is very popular.
Right now, yes.
Who comes here?
It's people that love art, but at the same time it's very diverse.
It attracts a once unthinkable mix of foreigners and locals and enjoys the actual support of the government, without whom, of course, it couldn't exist.
Our chef here, Lisette, is part of the art world, you know, here.
A ceviche of dogfish with pickled vegetables. Loin of pork, pan-seared with yuca, and a riff on a traditional orange sauce with garlic and coriander.
Good.
Very good.
What do you think's going to happen when the door opens and you've got hundreds of thousands of Americans flooding here, looking desperately to spend money on anything Cuban?
I don't know, man. We are a small country, no? We have to adapt to new things, but I think it's a good challenge.
I guess I'm asking, how do you keep it real when you'll all probably be millionaires in a few years?
Us?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
Y no es el objetivo nuestro ser millonarios. It's not our goal in life, but that's...
doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. We're gonna have more factories.
More factories.
Es una historia eterna que llena todo el alma.
Havana still looks like you want it to look. Or maybe just how I want it to look.
So romantic sueño sliding into a love in the silence of night.
What was once one of the wealthiest cities in Latin America, left to the elements, left to collapse, or frozen gloriously in time. In fits and starts, Cuba is changing. But it's not sugar or rum or tobacco or casino gambling that is the new god. It's tourism.
All right, so here we're at Chinatown, such as it is. But are there any Chinese left in Havana?
No. There's a few new Chinese.
Right.
At one point, the Chinese community in Cuba was huge, but they pretty much cleared out after the revolution, as did most of the Russian Jewish emigres who were here. So the state has erected a few quintessentially Chinatown gates, mustered the 14 Chinese people left in Havana Summon their relatives.
For more than 35 years, John Lee Anderson has been reporting from conflict zones such as Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Iraq, and Afghanistan.
I lied about my age and traveled around Africa. When I was 13, I told people I was 26.
In the early 1990s, while researching a biography of Che Guevara, he and his family moved to Cuba and ended up staying for 3 years.
You lived here during the special period, which was not so special. That was the bad times.
That was the
When
bad time.
The Russians had pulled out, Soviets all done.
The economy went like this.
Completely
90%, it just tanked.
Cuba lost 80% of its import goods, which led to widespread hunger, malnutrition, and a nosedive for the already difficult quality of life on the island.
There was one place where we could buy food, which was a Soviet-style place with food that was flown in, quite bad food. Under Fidel's rule, that's the way it was. Bless him.
It's like a cargo cult version of Chinese food here. Dumplings. A Szechuan chicken dish that's about as Szechuan as, well, I am.
What's going to happen? What's next?
The uptick in tourism just after the December 17th announcement, the surprise announcement by Raul and Obama, in which they said, we've decided to make friends again. The surge in tourism and American interest in Cuba is like this. You now have an island where every room is for rent because you can make $30 or $40 a day. That's more than a state employee makes in 3 months.
There will be wealthy hipsters, women in tiny black dresses drinking ironic riffs on the mojito in a lobby of the spanking new W Hotel with oons, oons, oons in the background.
Yeah.
And that's within 5 years.
Yeah, I would say so.
Will every Cuban have an inalienable right to free medical care and education at that time?
That's what they're worried about. The last time I was here, which was in 2013, I counted 8 to 10 homeless, garbage-eating people in the street. And I thought, wow, I've never seen that before in Cuba. That's something the old Cuba, the socialist Cuba that could look after all of its citizens, would never have allowed. It's allowing it now. This period we're here in, it's the lull before it all hits. The train is coming. It's either going to roar by and they're going to be able to jump on and go with it, or it's going to derail and it'll be a mess. All of it's possible.
You see me? Pregúntale si quiere probar el arroz para que me diga cómo está.
Yeah, my mom is asking me if you would like to taste the rice.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Like a lot of Cubans, Yosemi Rodriguez lives in the same working-class neighborhood where she was born.
I live with my mom, my sister, and my niece. Of course, I would like to have my own bedroom, but there are people who don't even have a house.
You were a translator, is that correct? And you are now a journalist?
Yeah, well, I've been writing for Havana Times, and then I write also for Diario de Cuba, which is another independent website.
She struggles to eke out a living in an industry where the state firmly controls all media.
What subjects in particular are of interest to you?
The racial issue?
Racial disparity. Now,
Yeah,
this is something that the revolution promised to address.
Their main mistake was to state that they had eradicated racism, that just like it could be eradicated just like that. On the street, for instance, policemen, the first people they stop is black people. If you're black, you are a potential criminal.
Her mom, Rosa, prepared a cabbage stew with carrots, tomatoes, and green beans for her, as Yosemi is a rare vegetarian on an island where pork is king.
Oh, fantastic. Look at that.
And for us, pork marinated in garlic, onion, and sour orange.
Please tell your mom it's superb, really excellent.
Mami, sé que está bueno. Está muy bueno, sí.
Thank you. You have a very highly educated public here, one of the most literate nations on earth.
That's funny. We are highly educated, as you said, but we are behind concerning internet and all that stuff. Most of us have access to only the official media, the official newspaper. If internet comes, and I think the government is trying to delay it, if that comes, many things will change. People who will have access to different points of view. And I don't think our government wants that.
If everything goes well, what will Havana be like? What will this neighborhood be like in 5 years?
You know, having a prosperous society doesn't guarantee that it is the same for everyone. You know, you see these people who have been able to use opportunities to open businesses, to open successful restaurants. Those opportunities are there, but I cannot use them because I don't have money. I don't think it is possible to have a perfect society, but I think it is possible to try. How you like the food?
Oh, it's delicious, really good. Thank you. All Cuba seems waiting for something, for whatever it is that happens next. Today, that's the roar of Detroit's finest, circa 1959 and before, of course. American dream machines tricked out, babied, pampered, jury-rigged, or simply held together with duct tape and baling wire. Nice. What's under the hood?
Motores americanos V8 cilindros.
V8 American engines. We buy spares, we bring spares from America.
Lo único que pensamos nosotros, el 90% de la semana es en nuestros carros.
All we think about through the week is our machines, our V8 engines, you know. Car racing in Cuba, they love it here as much as they love baseball.
Wow, that's serious. Los Amigos de Motor are die-hard gearheads, drag racers who for more than 20 years have been defying the law and escaping the grind of daily life by pressing pedal to the metal and hurtling down the highway faster, faster, fast as they can go.
They just find the best part of the day when there is not so much traffic. You get hundreds and hundreds of people on both sides of the road.
Now, before, it was absolutely illegal.
It's always been illegal. It's only the last couple of weeks that we're going to get sponsorship from the Ministry of Sports.
Everything is changing. It's entirely possible that soon you'll be able to order any part, any car in the world. You can have it tomorrow. What would it be?
Corvette.
Corvette. Which year?
¿De qué año?
Bueno.
Ok, vamos entonces a hacerlo, Víctor. Cierre calle, el carro y seguridad para todo el mundo. Vamos.
This piece, a lunar picnic, is only to be seen at night. The grills are painted with this fluorescent painting. It's very surrealistic. It's a weird sensation. It's like make you hungry somehow.
Along with his creative partner, Marco Castillo, Dago Rodriguez is half of Los Carpinteros, an artistic entity whose work is shown and collected all over the world.
Every single project is a different thing. You have a different technology to fabricate and to develop.
Los Carpinteros have managed to stay in the government's good graces by wryly using irony to make their points. In the brutally competitive and capricious contemporary art world outside of Cuba, they are stars. They make a lot of money, but they always return home to Havana. Looks like we'll be eating well.
Perfecto.
Tonight, it's a party in Dago's backyard.
Cheers.
Kelvis Ochoa has made his much-loved pig's head soup with pumpkin, corn, peppers, and sweet potatoes, cassava, and plantain.
I saw somebody's house. It was just an ordinary home, but they'd created their own fast food franchise and made it look as if it was part of a chain. It was like, you know, Mr. Burger or something like this.
This place can be a paradise for fast food, no?
I hope they don't come here soon.
Yeah, well, this is my biggest fear, is that there will be a big glass box of a W hotel and start seeing Starbucks and Victoria's Secret and, you know, all of the people who make every place look the same. It would be awful.
Yeah, but we have a 50-year lack of money.
Right.
This is a big problem. The people will freak out with money when they have the money here.
Of course, yeah. But I mean, I think if there's a $200 million hotel project that's sustainable, that preserves the facade of the city, that will get approved first before anything super American per se, you know.
Wow, whoa, what's he cooking over there?
Can't forget the whole roasted pig. A few years back, a pretty unthinkable luxury for just about everybody.
Oh, wow, soup.
Wow.
Everything is biological.
Organic,
They have no money. They have no
Yes,
money
for yes.
Not the pesticides and the hormones yet.
Ooh, wow.
And tamales steamed in the broth from the pig's head soup.
Life is good.
Yeah, it is.
Por tu encanto, María Elena, dueña de mi corazón, yo te canto un sucuzuco en luna llena. María Elena, yeah, ay, mira cómo suena. Vamos a cantarle una conga a la linda bella María Canción. Por tu encanto, María Elena, dueña de mi corazón. María Elena, dime toda la verdad. María Elena, tú eres mi problema en la tierra y en la eternidad. María Elena, la constata. María Elena, dime toda. Y dale bomba, mamá, y dale bomba.
I think our culture is so strong that it's gonna take a lot of tourists and a lot of boats. How do you say?
Cruise ships.
Cruise ships. Yeah. It's gonna take a lot of cruise ships to dissolve these ingredients. We're always like this, with or without tourists.
María Elena, la constata buena. María Elena, dime toda la verdad.
This is a typical street of this neighborhood. Houses of wood, houses of concrete. The street is not in good condition. Here was the bus station. It's not a bus station anymore. Now it's a building, it's a monument of the past.
Mantilla is a suburb of Havana, home to one of Cuba's most celebrated writers.
Mi nombre es Leonardo Padura, soy escritor y estamos en la casa donde he vivido toda mi vida. Existen muchas líneas en la realidad cubana que aparentemente no pueden traspasarse. Pero yo creo que sí, que se pueden traspasar o por lo menos se pueden empujar.
Author of the internationally successful Mario Conde detective series, Padura has been able to portray the daily struggles, the absurdities of life in Cuba. It's a delicate dance, and few have been able to replicate it.
You're a hero in the books. Does he live in this neighborhood? Or another neighborhood?
More or less, more or less.
Happy place to grow up? I mean, in this neighborhood?
Yeah. I was totally free.
I notice a lot of people just hanging out. Who lives here?
All kinds of people. Doctors, for example, engineers, workers,
Macambra, champán de barrio.
And people who makes nothing, like that guy,
right?
He don't make nothing.
How does he live?
Trying to find something to do or something to sell, making a small business.
Cafeteria a la Barbecue is only one example of a booming do-it-yourself service industry. It's a place where you get a lot of bang for your money. Nothing fancy, just delicious.
Gracias.
Fried pork, plantains, and the kind of silky, deeply satisfying beans that dreams are made of.
This is good. Good beans.
Yeah.
You've never had a book blacklisted or banned in Cuba?
Fortunately, no.
Have you been able to say everything that you wanted to say?
I try to be the most honest writer that I can be, and I think that I had said all that I can say. The problem is that we need in Cuba a lot of money because it's very beautiful city, but the people have many problems to live with the space, with the structure of the buildings.
For dessert,
awesome.
flan, cooked in a cut-down beer can.
Thank you. You're a successful author. You've been around the world. You've traveled. During difficult periods of Cuban history, I'm sure you had many opportunities to live in Miami or Barcelona or Los Angeles, and yet you stayed in the same house, the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
Why?
Because I like it. I need to live in Cuba, near to the Cuban people, near to the Cuban language. For me, it's very important.
Yes, the future is here. But the past, too, is everywhere. The buildings, the cars, the gears of the whole system are still largely stuck in time.
Mi nombre es Juana Bacallao, Juana la cubana.
93-year-old Juana Bacallao is very much a part of that past.
Me dedico a mi arte, a cantarle al pueblo toda una vida.
Long before the revolution, she was a shining star at Meyer Lansky's Tropicana, singing for Capone, Luciano. You know the names.
Juana, Juana, cuando me tiro en el carro mío. Y esa es la vida que siempre he tenido con el pueblo. Yo voy al escenario todos los días a las 12 de la noche con mi orquesta. Cuba siempre ha sido divino. Es una fuente maravillosa de amigos que me quieren todo el pueblo. Mientras que hay salud se canta y eso. Córdoba. lejana y sola, jaca negra.
Cuba is not Havana. It's a bigger country than you might imagine. And the road to Santiago de Cuba, the country's second largest city, takes you 12 hours on their less than modern highway system. Along the way, you see agrarian Cuba, the country in which most Cubans lived pre-revolution.
Santiago, Santiago, hoy en Santiago.
Santiago is a poorer city. It's blacker. And unlike Havana, the symbols and faces of the revolution still seem to mean something. These brutalist prefab workers' housing complexes are everywhere here. And at first glance, hell, at second glance, they look like something you'd house animals in. But for many, previously living even poorer, harsher lives in the countryside, these offered something new. Each group of buildings came with a doctor, a school. Still, they look about as grim can be. Yet, Santiago is anything but grim. Siboney Beach is where locals go on the weekend to kick back with family, drink the best rum in Cuba, which means the best rum anywhere, swim, hang with family and friends.
Hola, gentlemen. We will be needing some vasos.
Raymel is our local fixer. Ruben is in the bar business. Sergio rents rooms to the occasional tourist. Everybody getting by, making the adjustment to private enterprise Cuba in their own way.
Until a few years ago, you couldn't rent or sell, right?
No, era diferente. Ya tiene años ya la renta.
A long time ago, it was allowed to rent a house, but no sell and buy.
What kind of fish is this?
Dorado.
It's huge.
It's good.
Fresh-caught dorado and lobster is on the menu.
Do they think this is going to change? I mean, look, we've all been following the news.
Vamos a tener un turismo que nunca hemos tenido. Turismo norteamericano.
Right. Half an hour away. I mean, they can basically take a boat over for lunch. What do you think Americans want?
No sabemos nada.
They have no idea because they know because never touched the American tourists before.
It's looking good now, man. Good rum, cold beer, good fish, good lobster. You'll be needing a blender for piña coladas.
Si no hay máquina, la vamos a hacer con nosotros.
If they have not machine, they're gonna do it by hand.
Don't put it this way, my friend. You're going to be making a lot of piña coladas. I think you're going to need the machine.
No hay pierna, hay costilla. Fumigando insectos. Y la music, el académico. No se maten más. TNT, la resistencia. Hace boom, 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 el latido en tu conciencia.
Nighttime is party time, where everybody, it appears, at least from when I was there, hit the streets. Mom, dad, sis, even grandma get, well, crazy. Used to be son and trova that ruled the streets. This was where those musical styles were born after all, but now it's reggaeton and, of course, hip-hop.
No me mataron ni las balas ni los bobos, yo soy a prueba de todo protección espiritual. La misma plaga sigue siendo quien los mata, tienen la boca muy grande y el cerebro minimal.
Alain Garcia is the leader of the Santiago-based hip-hop trio, TNT, La Resistencia.
We've been making hip-hop for 15 years, which is quite difficult here in Cuba. We've been in jail 3 days once just for making hip-hop.
Súbele el volumen, voy a rapear como un loro. Deja lo que fluye, el ritmo habla por sí solo. Este es MC, yo Papa Flow aquí en la tierra. El asesino de los chotas, el perro de todas esas perras. Arrodíllense, muñeca, se lo manda.
Definitely it's a change in Cuba, but I don't think it's because the relation with the United States are getting better. It's because the people just realize we need to change. We still want a kind of society where everyone participates, everyone determining the future of the society.
So, born and bred, Santiago, where the good rum comes from.
Exactly.
So tell me, music business in Santiago.
But what are you doing?
Music here is more important than the plate of food. When it's carnival, sometimes the people doesn't have money for a proper food, but they got money for like a jar of beer and just enjoying that beer in a place with music.
How much American hip hop do you get here?
We get actually quite a lot. Just my friends. Someone came from outside. That one passed to me and I passed to my friends and that's it. It's hand by hand. In the beginnings, in the 90s, we started making hip hop here. And we get a lot of troubles. Hip hop came from the States. They're like everlasting enemy of the revolution.
Right.
So you're making a music, a protest music.
Right.
So we've been a couple times in jail just for songs.
So now you can make money performing?
Yeah.
You can maybe make money selling...
CDs in the streets. But actually right now, more possibilities are coming. When the opportunity to like promote the music, when the opportunity to have access to internet, free access, I mean.
That's gonna be the biggest thing.
Yeah. If you want to spend your holidays properly in Cuba, just come down to Santiago.
All right.
We got a couple of things to show to the world.
Cheers, man.
Cheers, man. Go Santiago.
Hola.
Hola.
Let's do it. Hi, I'm Tony.
My name is George.
How long have you been driving a taxi?
For more than 20 years.
Mostly Cubans or tourists?
No, tourists, most of them Spanish, Italy, even people from Canada, a lot of Canadian people.
You from Santiago?
Yes, I was born in Santiago. I was saying in Spanish, Santiaguero. I used to live in Russia for 6 years. I studied there.
Really?
Yeah, I was really young, and I really enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah? Because it must be cold there.
No, could you imagine the difference? Cuba, a Russian, snow. First time I saw snow, I sent to my mom a lot of pictures.
Yeah.
Holding snow, throwing snow.
So what were you studying in Russia?
Mechanic engineer.
That's so you went from engineering to taxi driving.
Yes. In 1990, a Russian left us alone. We got in trouble with the economy, so I have to change my job.
So it looks like the embargo might end. You know, a lot of money going to start coming to Cuba.
Oh.
You think it's going to change?
I think that the American businessmen will invest in Cuba, and that will be good for everyone.
How about going back to engineering?
You know, that will depend on how much they will pay.
Right, okay. What next for Cuba? Something is coming. It will come from out there, but also from within Cuba. It's already happening. But what is it? Everybody knows, everybody can feel it. It smells like freedom. But will it be victory?